everybody, and welcome back onto the platform. It's the show where we do stories with no thought whatsoever, which is to say we make them up without prior thought, which is to say that sometimes they're good and sometimes they're great. My name is Ryan. Kevin took the biggest sip of water I've ever seen.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
May I say, your mustache looks very nice today.
Oh my gosh. Thanks.
Kevin has kind of a combination mustache beard.
I really do. I look a bit like Henry Cavill. If you just imagine Henry Cavill, that's
exactly
what I look like.
That's exactly what Kevin looks like.
Oh,
Kevin
no.
also insists on kicking the table over.
Sorry, I'm just...
If you're wondering what that loud thud in the audio is.
I'm just so clumsy. My big ass is going everywhere. I'm Henry Cavill. Oh, no!
Oh, Henry Cavill, it's okay.
I'm just Superman. I don't know what to do with myself.
Your chest is just too huge. You knock over vases
I'm a
and
Witcher
urns.
boy.
You're the Witcher boy.
Has he done anything else? I don't know.
Other than The Witcher and Superman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in lots of else. He was in the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare more recently. He was in Mission Impossible. He was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I heard was fine.
Oh, right. I saw him in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Was
I liked
he good?
it. Yeah, I liked
I
Man
didn't
from
see
U.N.C.L.E. I thought it was an alright show.
Okay.
Well, anyways.
This is the Henry Cavill fan cast.
Yeah, this is the
where
Henry
we
Cavill.
only talk about
Henry Cavill.
My favorite Henry Cavill role was probably...
Ryan, we should probably get going. We have a busy schedule.
You're right. We're going to get a suggestion from this wonderful app.
Let's get ourselves a little suggestion.
And if you want listening at home to send us a suggestion, you can email us at platform.pod.show@gmail.com. You can message us on Instagram or Facebook. Whenever we release an episode, we make posts on there, and you can DM us or comment on a post or do whatever feels manageable for you given life circumstances.
Yeah, whatever you can afford to do.
Whatever you have the spoons for.
Yeah.
And you can inspire an episode. You can send us a one-word suggestion, and wouldn't that be
That'd be
grand?
so sweet and lovely.
It would be so sweet of you.
I would love that.
Yeah. So the suggestion for today's episode is an adjective, and the adjective is favorable. Favorable. Sort of.
Could you imagine, right?
What?
Like, we go out, and we're in a public setting, right? We're in a theater. We're doing the live show for the platform.
Yeah, coming soon to
Vancouver.
Sewer near you.
Yeah.
But okay, you're imagining this dreamscape. We're doing some manner
and
of live
we're
show.
hey, we need a suggestion. Any word.
Yeah.
And someone in the audience just stands up and is like, favorable.
I'd think, wow, what a unique suggestion.
I think, what the fuck's wrong with them?
Okay, well, that's the difference between you and me, and that's why we'll be together forever.
Yeah, because of our differences.
Because of our differences. But let this be a lesson to you at home. The differences between you and others are what makes you beautiful, and them beautiful, or something. I don't know.
Well, favorable, isn't it?
Favorable, sort of vaguely formal, I would think. Better than good or neat or something.
The outcome was favorable.
It was a favorable outcome, yes. And now we shall name the episode one word at a time, and then we can get started. Would you like to start, Kevin?
Would love to start. I'll start by saying Uptown.
Travels
west.
Uptown travels west. I don't know what that means. Normally, the uptown district of any given city doesn't necessarily travel.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a metaphor. We'll find out.
Well, let's hope it's a metaphor.
Yeah, I'm going to commit. It is a metaphor.
Wow.
And we'll find out for what right now.
The sky. Dark and filled with garbage. Smog covers all of the sky in Uptown. Here in the sky we see birds shift and move through the fog. And then, suddenly, and without warning, a breeze comes through, and a fog rolls under the smog.
So there's two now. There's the fog, there's the smog, and then underneath the fog.
There's there's the smog, and then underneath the smog is the fog.
Yeah.
But underneath the fog
Yeah.
is a diner.
Oh.
Neon lights. Dirty windows. The sound of cars. Grumble, grumble. Roll past. Don't make fun of me for that.
I won't.
The cobblestone pathways are barely illuminated via the street lamps. Their light dissolved in the nimbus cloud of the fog.
Under the smog.
Under the smog.
Under the sky.
Under the sky.
We head into the diner.
Ting-ling-ling-ling.
It's well, frankly, it's pretty disgusting in here. It's a very rundown place. You get the sense that this diner is perhaps the stopping point of all kinds of different people along their journey throughout Uptown. It's a melting pot of the different working classes. You can see garbage men going about before their morning routine, stopping by for a coffee. You can see a well-to-do businessman in the corner working away on a laptop. You can see two young kids, sort of maybe in their late teens, seeming to laugh and giggle with each other over a shared milkshake. I have no idea what time it is. But,
I also don't have any idea.
I'm getting a sense that nobody knows what time it is.
It seems as though there's a businessman working on his Excel spreadsheet, and also two youngsters enjoying a malt.
Yeah, and also garbage men having coffee before their rounds, which I can only imagine happens very early in the morning. The secret behind all this? You know where the diner lies? Next to the airport. These people are all visiting Uptown. And this is the first stop that all visitors to Uptown make. Carol's Diner. It's illuminated with a bright pink neon sign out front. The L in Carol is flickering, so it's kind of like Carol's Diner. And it may be a dirty place, it may be a drab place, it may be a place where all walks of life come and find their home and feel welcome. But it's important to Uptown. It's part of her history. It's part of her roots.
Yes.
And behind the diner countertop, we see a middle-aged woman. And she's working away, cleaning glasses, putting out eggs, putting out sandwiches, putting out entire slabs of steak, because everybody's jet-lagged and nobody knows what time it is. There are no clocks in Carol's Diner. It's kind of like a casino. There are windows, though. And Carol has sort of an air about her. She's not an overly friendly person, but you get the sense that if you're in a pinch, she'll do what she can for you. And she leans over the countertop and gives 2 hamburgers to the young kids. And she says,
"Here you go."
"Oh, thanks. Thanks, Carol."
"You're welcome."
Hey, what are the chances of me getting some fries with that, huh?"
"Sure thing." Carol wanders over to the fryer, and as she does, she looks out the window. Outside of the foggy, dirty glass, she sees a man wearing all black, a trench coat, and a pair of large boots. black gloves, large hat, and a mask. His eyes peer like a face mask. His eyes peer into the diner and meet with Carol's.
Carol doesn't move. She simply looks at the man for a moment and then steps away.
She goes to the fryer and pours frozen fries onto the grease. They sizzle and bubble and boil in the hot grease.
Today's a day like any other for Carol. She goes about every day, seemingly unending. The days blend together, week after week, month after month, year after year. She's owned this diner for as long as she can remember, as long as anyone can remember. And every day, people from all walks of life come through here and find a place that they can call home, if only for a little while, here in Carol's Diner, on the edge of Uptown. Somebody walks in.
Ding, ling, ling. Carol swivels around,
half expecting to see
the man,
the dark-figured man, but instead, he is nowhere to be seen, and a different kind of man has walked into the store.
He wears a auburn suit with a white shirt and plaid tie that does not match.
He carries a sparkling cane.
And he sits down at the diner.
And he says, "Pardon me. I don't suppose you would be Carol, would you?"
I am. And who are you?
Why, my name is Regiford Carlyle. And I find myself, making only the briefest of stops here in Uptown while I am on my travels. At the UPT airport. I just had a layover, and so I've heard so much about this place, and I figured I would poke my head in and see what all the fuss was about.
Okay. Where are you traveling from?
I'm traveling from Lincolnshire, and I'm heading to Abu Dhabi.
Oh.
But enough about me. Tell me, what can a fellow like myself procure in such an amicable place as yours?
We have burgers.
Burgers?
And fries.
Excellent.
She looks over at the window, and yet again standing outside, still as the night air, the darkened figure staring at her.
You all right?
Sorry. We have sausage, bangers and mash.
That's all right. I think I've heard enough. Why don't I just have a coffee? Plenty of cream, please.
She looks over at the man, still there. She looks back at Regiford. Right away.
Why, thank you.
She turns around, goes and enters into the back room to prepare her coffee.
And as she does this, Regiford sort of looks around the interior of the diner. He casts his eyes over the different people that are sitting in booths and at the countertop. He's never really been in a place such as this. It's not the kind of haunt that he frequents back in his hometown. And so he finds himself sort of demurely amused by everything. And he walks over to the businessman working on the laptop and he says, "I say, fellow, you are really typing up a storm over here, aren't you?"
Yeah.
Well, the conversation sort of immediately fizzles out, and he's like, "Well, good on you, old chap." He sort of slaps him on the shoulder, and he says, "Well, all right then." And then he turns and walks away. And he thinks to himself, people here in Uptown aren't exactly the most chatty cats, are they? And he goes over to the young kids who are eating their hamburgers, and he says, "Well, hey there, kiddos.
Hi," the young lady says.
How are you doing on this fine day in Uptown? I'm just passing through, you see, and so I'm making a point of it to experience as much of the city as I possibly can."
Oh, well, we're also just passing through.
"Oh, really?"
The boy responds, "Yeah, we're from Red Deer."
"Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a real place?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. Perhaps I should stop there next time."
Well, where are you from, the girl says.
"Oh, here and there. I'm heading to Abu Dhabi, you know." And he twirls his cane.
Is that a real place? The girl says.
"You've never heard of Abu Dhabi? Well, goodness me, my young dear, you should find yourself there post-haste, I should think. I've been there many a time, and let's just say that you haven't lived until you've been to Abu Dhabi."
Ding!
Somebody
The
else
bell.
walks in.
Oh, no, that's the bell. for
Oh,
coffee.
never mind.
But yeah, someone else could walk in. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a coffee.
Are you sure?
Simultaneously, a new person walks in, and also Carol puts the coffee on the counter.
Carol checks. It's not the man. He's
Not
still
the man.
outside.
He's still outside. This is a different person.
It's a younger lady. And she rushes in, business suit, briefcase. She rushes in, kind of a power suit that she's wearing with shoulder pads. It's green. Regiford.
Eyes her suit and thinks, "Now this is my kind of woman." And he sort of flounces over to her, cane in hand, and sort of leans jauntily on it. And he says, and he picks up his coffee and he sips it as he says, "Well, good afternoon, if that is what time it is."
Oh,
The fog, you see.
the woman doesn't seem to respond to Regiford, but instead speaks to Carol. Carol says, "What can I get for you?"
And the woman says, I'm really sorry. I don't have a lot of time, but I was wondering, would you be able to hide me here?"
Yes.
Okay. The woman climbs over the counter. Regiford says, "What in the devil?" And the woman says, "Thank you so much. I'm sorry. I can try to explain it a little bit, but
Just go.
okay." She sort of crawls behind the counter and like heads into the back room. Regiford and Carol sort of watch her go and then lock eyes. "Well, goodness. You really do get all types here, don't you?
Yeah.
Is that sort of thing common here?"
Happens a lot, she says.
"Really? What is it about this place, do you think, that makes everybody feel so at home?"
She looks over at the dark figure still in the window. And she does not respond to Regiford.
Regiford sort of gazes around and looks around and he says, "It really is a mystery to me. Because, you see, I've heard tell of Carol's Diner in all my travels. Any time I meet somebody new and I mention that I'm going to be flying through Uptown, they say, 'Oh, you must go to Carol's Diner.' Everybody specifies you feel at home. Feel at home in Carol's Diner. And I'm looking around and it really does seem like all your customers here do feel at home, don't they?"
Ding-ling-ling.
Somebody new walks in.
You see a tall, older man.
He's got a scar on his cheek.
He walks right up to the counter. He's wearing a tracksuit. He has 2 rings on his fingers. He leans down. Carol says, "What can I get you?"
He says, "Did a woman come through here?"
Women come through here all the time.
"She was in a green suit."
I don't recall. She says, "I can get you something to eat if you'd like."
And the tall, older man looks at Regiford, who sort of starts to sweat a little bit. You get the impression that perhaps Regiford is not the bravest of souls.
Yeah.
And the older man turns back and he says, "An omelet." And he sits down at the counter.
She goes into the back. The woman is nowhere to be seen. She grabs some eggs from the back. And as she goes to crack them, one of them completely shatters in her hands. The yolk and white spilling between her fingertips. And then an elderly hand reaches up around hers and says, "That's okay, dear. That's okay."
Meanwhile, at the counter, Regiford is sitting rather stoically next to the older gentleman, and he says, "Just passing through." Yes, so am I, as it would turn out. What brings you to Uptown?
A girl.
Oh, I've been there, my friend. Trust me. I don't suppose I could offer you a piece of advice.
The man with the scar looks over at Regiford.
And Regiford is sweating almost imperceptibly from the back of his neck, and he says, "You know, in my experience, in my travels, which have been many, I have found that the pursuit of a woman is sometimes the best thing in life. Better than, in fact, the arrival at said woman. Wouldn't you agree?"
You are a foppish man.
Regiford sort of sits back in his chair and he twirls his cane again and he says, "Well, I can't say that I haven't heard such things before, but..." And he looks down. He can't think of anything else to say.
From the back, carrying an omelet, Carol walks in.
How many bells are in this store?
There's one at the front, one at the back.
Okay.
She drops
the
in
omelet
front
down.
of the man.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The man starts eating.
Carol walks over to the businessman typing. Everything okay?
Yes, thank you.
Would you like another coffee?
No, thank you.
She walks back over to the other two.
Regiford is sort of eyeing her, sitting a little bit nervously next to the older man.
Suddenly, a bang is heard. Not from the back. From the corner of the restaurant. The garbage man. Oh.
What was that? Everyone turns and looks over.
Oh. Well, that was me. I woke up. I hit my head. Sorry.
Oh, Steve-O.
Wait. Carl?
Steve-O?
Oh, Carl, I thought you... Oh, it's good to see you anyway.
It's good to see you, man. How long have you been over there?
I haven't been here this entire time.
I haven't been here this and they like start laughing and clapping each other on the back. Regiford sort of looks quizzically at them. It's a very strange interaction he just witnessed.
Because Regiford could swear there was only one garbage man sleeping in the corner.
He looks back at Carol. She's unfazed.
Anything else I can get you, Mr. Regiford?
Well, I've almost finished my coffee, and I must say, it was most favorable. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, I suppose perhaps I must be headed off now, unfortunately. I'm headed west, after all.
Headed west?
Yes. Towards Abu Dhabi, you know. Yes. One can't spend one's entire life in Uptown.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, she says.
Regiford looks around. The more time he spends in Carol's diner, the more ill at ease he becomes. He looks over at the man typing on his laptop. The man hasn't touched his coffee. The man seems to type endlessly, uninterrupted. He looks over at the young couple at the counter. They haven't touched their hamburgers. They're still laughing and chatting to one another. He looks over at the garbage men.
There's only one garbage man. He's sleeping.
Regiford sort of subtly dabs at his brow. He looks over at the older gentleman. He is eating his eggs. He's almost finished now.
The older gentleman raises his head, looks at Carol, and says, I know you have her here.
Carol just looks at him.
So, she says,
I'm not leaving until you give her to me.
That was already a given, she says.
The man stands up. What? He heads for the exit. Regiford watches him go.
He opens the door and exits into the fog. Regiford, as he sees him go, sees in the frame of the door, before it closes, a tall, dark figure wearing all black with a wide hat.
He blinks. The man's gone.
The woman comes in from the back. She's still in a huff. Carol looks back and says, You're okay now.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough. She climbs over the counter again. Thank you. She goes over to Regiford and shakes his hand. Thank you. Thank you. And she heads out. She exits the diner. Regiford, eyes wide, looks back at Carol and says, I'm terribly sorry. What exactly is... And then, as he's about...
The man with the laptop closes it. He screams, Ah! It's not coming! And then he puts his laptop in his bag. He says, See you tomorrow, Carol. And he leaves.
The garbage man wakes up and he says, Oh,
Hey,
I overslept. We gotta
get going.
We gotta get going. There are two garbage men. Hey, Steve-O, hop in the truck. Hey, Carol, see you tomorrow, right?
Carol doesn't say anything. The two kids take each other's hands, say nothing, and exit as well. And every time they exit, the black figure comes closer and closer to the door.
Regiford is looking around. He's watching everybody get up and leave, and he's watching the masked man inch closer and closer, and he's becoming more and more sort of perturbed. And he says, I'm dreaming. I must be dreaming. This is just an ordinary diner. And he looks over at Carol.
That's probably right, she says.
Just out of the corner of Regiford's eye, he thinks he sees the gnarled hand of an old woman curled around the door to the back of the store, and then it slips away. He gasps and stands up.
He bumps a man, dark as tar, stares back at him. Face mask, gloves, trench coat, pants, shoes, wide-brimmed hat, all black. His skin is an unseemly, almost purplish hue. His eyes, two dark voids where balls should be. The large, imposing man suddenly raises his hand.
I'm not ready.
You're right.
He slowly lowers it.
He puts his hand down. He slowly lowers it.
Redgifer says, I'm sorry.
Redgifer goes to leave, but he is interrupted. He hears a voice. Carol saying, "Don't go."
He sort of stops in the doorway and leans on it, and he doesn't look back, and he says, I think I will. I think I simply must be going. Thank you. The coffee was, well, it was good. And then he walks out into the fog.
And as he walks, and 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 walks, he sits down. And then he feels it. The sudden surge of the G-force. The impact on the ground. The groan of the plane.
He blinks his eyes open.
Now arriving in Abu Dhabi.
He peers out the window, the glimmering sunlight across the trees, and he breathes a sigh of relief. And he looks over. Sitting next to him is a tall, older man with a scar on his cheek.
What?
Just happy to be here.
He says.
And Regiford looks out the window. He tries to remember. What was it that he did in Uptown? Oh well. He just remembers that the coffee was excellent.
Yay!
Well, they said it couldn't be done.
We made a metaphor.
We made a metaphor. The whole thing was a metaphor.
Yeah.
For what? I don't know.
This is Silent Hill ass shit.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what was the moral of that?
The moral of that story is that if you set any story in or around an airplane, it's about death.
Cool.
Yeah. In or around an airport, it's always about death.
Always about death. Always about moving on, limbo.
Yeah, that sort of shit.
Traveling through the plains. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Can't be about anything else.
Yep, it's illegal. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Yes.
We hope you were transported through Uptown to Abu Dhabi with us.
I hope so as well.
And I hope you learned a lot. I hope you felt something. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah. And hey, if you enjoyed this,
Yeah.
you should, if you can, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us some kind of feedback or what have you. Call us big boys.
Yeah, leave us a review and call us big boys.
Yeah, but
If you
what
want.
you should definitely, almost always do is you should stay safe, be lovely. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, everybody.
Bye-bye!
Heading over the skies, the foggy skies of Uptown.
That's the plane. That's the sound the plane makes. Turn this shit off.